It's the all-wheel drive event at Lithia Ford of Boise. From hunting trips to ski trips to Grandma's house. Nobody does AWD like LFB, Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Eat Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the Flamin' Hot Grilled Cheese Burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
The final buzzer is sounded on another night of Mountain West basketball, and it's time to break down the action with Tom Moser on another night in the Mountain West, presented by Circa Sports. Headed to Las Vegas for the Mountain West tournament in March? Make sure to stay at Circa Las Vegas and watch all the action at Stadium Swim, where the sports are on 365 days a year. Another night in the Mountain West has interviews, analysis, opinions after the final Mountain West basketball game of the day wraps up. All BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. The title sponsor of Bronco Nation News is Lithia Ford of Boise. Check out our full inventory of vehicles online at lithiafordboise.com. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Did your team just get a big win? Suffer a bad loss? Come discuss it with us. Send us a comment or question in the ICCU YouTube chat, or leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/BNN. Now let's go to the Sun Cruiser Studios and join Tom Moser for another night in the Mountain West on Bronco Nation News.
What's up, everybody? You found the top of the... I'm sorry. Oh, man. We're here live on another night in the Mountain West. The boss is here just for the first 3 minutes. BJ live on the scene at Extra Mile, where the Boise State Broncos just pulled away in the second half, really, in a quite interesting game. That's why we coined the phrase here, another night in the Mountain West. Quite a game, BJ. Before you get out of here, go do your post-game stuff up there. What are your thoughts on what you just witnessed?
Yeah, and I don't know where to start, man. Boise State in the first half shoots 2 of 17 from 3 and was actually the better performance shooting from 3 in the first half because New Mexico is 0 for 12. It's 21 of 19 at halftime. New Mexico scores 19 points in the first half, comes out and scores 11 points in the first 2.5 minutes of the second half. Leon throws in some bench players, changes up the lineup. They're down 9, and all of a sudden you get Spencer Aarons, the freshman, breaks out. Nato, the freshman, kind of fueling this comeback with some starters sitting on the bench for Boise State. And so, they're supposed to win by, I think, 5, 6 at Ken Palm. They win by 9. So overall, Boise State did what they needed to do tonight. And I thought, it wasn't pretty by any means. At times there was some good defense. At times there was some really horrific shooting on both sides. But they were just missing bunnies. They're missing free throws. It was not an offensive clinic by any stretch of the imagination. But I do think the defenses at times deserve a little bit of credit. It was dreadful offense, but there were some bad shots being taken because of some pretty good defense, particularly in the first half. But it was a game of runs back and forth, and Boise State just had that kind of final run in them in the half there. And Eric Olin, man, he's learning about Mountain West road games here with the officiating, with the crowd, the momentum getting into it. This was their first conference road game here, and I thought that the crowd, even for a 9 p.m., really kind of played a factor tonight in that second half.
Yeah, I think that one of the key things to remember, we often get lost, we lose track of this, is that college basketball games are 40 minutes, right? And New Mexico, look, after the first 2 minutes of the second half, when they go on that 11-0 run that you referenced, that they were in control of the game. But, I mean, you got to stay the course the entirety of the second half, and Boise just did that. They stuck it out, as you said. Leon made some personnel changes. Aaron's really kind of flipped the momentum with 2 or 3 plays there. He made a 3. He had another drive to the basket. He created a turnover, a jump ball. I can't remember exactly what the play was, but, to go to a timeout, and the crowd kind of got into it. So,
yeah.
You can't get too wrapped up in 11-0 runs. You don't want to give one of those up. But if you just stay the course, over the a 20-minute half, those things sometimes, most of the time, will even out if you're a good team. And as you mentioned, it's not easy to go on the road in this conference and win. So, I think as you mentioned with the personnel changes, the depth won out here for Boise State. Throughout Leon's tenure, especially over the last few years, I think many Boise fans and followers of the Mountain West, they are kind of used to Leon not going super deep with his bench.
Yeah.
He utilizes his bench here tonight, and Owen's down a couple guys, and he's using a couple guys that maybe he doesn't want to for as many minutes as he did, and I think that really kind of caught up with him there in the second half. I always say, it's difficult for the role players and your younger guys. Jay Call really struggled tonight to make plays on the road as it is when you're playing at home.
It was 37-7 was the bench scoring. Boise State, 37 bench points, and that'd be 25 from the starters. So 37-25, Boise State gets the points from their bench. You had 12 for Aarons off the bench, 11 for Carmichael off the bench, 10 for NATO off the bench. But and I know you got other games to get to. I'm going to get to my interviews. We may get you a Boise player. We'll see here how that works out. I'm going to try for you. But overall, like I said, I thought New Mexico, it was really bad shooting from both teams. I thought at times the defense did some things. New Mexico's final number, 3 for 25 from 3-point range. 3 of 25. Boise State goes 6 of 30 and is the better 3-point shooting team of the game. But if you're Boise State, you know what? You did exactly what you needed to do. Horrible start. You get down 8-0. You missed your first 11 shots. It was like, well, so much for being fired up after the break. But they found a way to come back and battle back and do some things and get the lead at halftime and end up hanging on. So I guess I'll say nice win for Boise State. They win by 9. It wasn't the prettiest game, but they do what they need to do, and now they have a big one Saturday against San Diego State. But I know you got Craig Neal coming on, Colorado State, Nevada. I know you're going to talk to Craig Neal, the associate head coach at Nevada. You got multiple games to talk about. I know you have some more thoughts on this Boise State game, so appreciate everybody for watching us. I'll have my full post-game show, the Jackson's post-game show for folks on the Bronco Nation News Network that want to really dive into this Boise State-New Mexico game. I'll have full interview with Leon and players up. I may try to steal Jeff Grammer for a little bit as well on my post-game show. We'll start that when you're done here in about a half an hour or so. Kudos to you. Good luck talking about this game and the rest of the games. Appreciate everybody that's watching this. Make sure you go subscribe to our new channel on the bottom of the screen there. / Mountain West BNN. I know you're going to push that, Tom, but I know a lot of games to discuss, and I know you have some more thoughts on this one. So I'll go do some post-game interviews, get the reaction here courtside. I'll be live on my show in about 30 minutes. But Boise State, in the end, gets the win, back to 1-1 in conference play. Thanks, Tom.
All right, BJ. Good luck. Thank you. Talk soon. All right. Let's go over some housekeeping stuff. This is another night in the Mountain West, not the aforementioned top of the Mountain West. Another night, right, as we kind of talked about. You see something new every night, 21-19 in the first half, not the prettiest half of basketball. I thought the second half got to be pretty smooth. It was an enjoyable watch with the runs back and forth. And as BJ had mentioned, we are going to bring Craig Neal on in a little bit. I figure we'll talk about this game first since it's the one that just ended. Some folks just tuning in after that game, maybe New Mexico fans a little upset. Maybe some Boise fans fired up, maybe just neutral fans watching the game because it was the last one on in the country going on right now. So people in here that's top of mind. We'll talk about that. Yes, we'll talk about the other games, spend a little bit more time on the Colorado State-Nevada game, and then I have a few minutes that we got to talk with Coach Neal afterwards. So that's what we're going to do in a little bit. As far as this goes, we have 5 games today, no Grand Canyon, no UNLV. I will go in reverse order. So as BJ mentioned, I have some other thoughts in this game. I'll bring up the box. I didn't even really look at the stats yet, and BJ referenced the bench points, 37-7. So I mean, look, one of the things that is important, especially nowadays in college hoops. I mean, it really should always be, but is your depth, okay? And when you have guys out, it's just difficult to go deeper into the bench. And, I guess it was a week and a half ago now when the Lobos drilled San Jose State. The last show I did, they won that game by 20+, and they got contributions from guys all up and down the roster. Remember, Vicentic was like a war hero in that game for Lobo Nation then, because he came off I think he led the team in scoring with 19, and he was okay, here we go. So we got the stats on the screen. Vicentic with 19 in that game. There were some other guys that got some minutes that Olin and crew hadn't counted on up to that point. And my thing was, look, it's great that you're doing that, period. It's fine. But it's one thing to do it at home against San Jose State, and it's another thing to go do it on the road against a very good team. And you saw that tonight. Let's look at the stats right here. I understand there was some foul trouble. Bouillon got in foul trouble. His minutes, as a result, he only played 24 minutes. If you're a Lobo fan, you'd like to see him get 32 minutes. Albury also, only 24 minutes. He ended up fouling out late. You like to see him up with 28 or 30 minutes. But, I mean, regardless, you have 5 guys, I guess 6 guys that played the bulk of the minutes. Rockwood 14, Miller 11, and Vicentic 8. And those are guys, Rock's been pretty consistent. He didn't play well tonight, 0-4 from the field. Did grab 4 boards, committed 4 fouls. His plus-minus couldn't have been very good. But Vicentic and Miller, 19 minutes combined, 0 points, 0 for 4 from the floor. So you're not getting anything from those guys after they played well at home against San Jose State. So it's very difficult to get the same type of production from those guys. Meanwhile, BJ referenced 37 off the bench. Spencer Aarons was huge, 5 for 7 with 12 points and 8 rebounds. That's massive off the bench. Parolin, again, probably took a few too many threes. And Miles Simon, who did a great job on the call for the game, said what I would always say in the first half after Parolin had launched 3 threes and missed all 3. Now, to be fair, everybody was launching for both teams and missing. But Parolin, it's not his shot. He was 2 for 7 on the season. And the fact is, there's a reason he's open, right? So you're open because the opposing team wants you to shoot. They don't care if you shoot. And he took 3 of them, missed all 3, but he grabbed 8 boards too. You'll always take that off the bench, no matter who you are. Carmichael, 3 of 10 and only 1 of 8 from deep, but 11 points and 5 rebounds. You'll take that. Neto, who's gotten better and better, 25 minutes. He's almost out-minuting Dylan Andrews at this point, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But he gives you 10 points in 25 minutes, 2 turnovers, not bad for being in for 25 minutes, 2 rebounds, just 1 assist. And, Fielder made some big buckets late. You get more points from the bench, as BJ said, 37-25 was the breakdown there. So the depth really won out here. And this was something that Boise fans were counting on at the start of the year. And I was skeptical because Leon never really relies on his bench. He may have it, but he doesn't rely on it. And he used it here. And this is a game where not having Hal, even though Lobo fans aren't enamored with Hal, not having Hal, obviously the Patton thing, who knows? We don't really get updates from Olin on that. But not having those guys hurts because you have to go deeper into the bench then, and it just doesn't work over a 40-minute stretch. So, I mean, look, both teams shot the ball poorly, as we know. 3 for 25 is just awful. I mean, yes, 2 things can be true. It can be good defense and it can be bad offense. And I think both teams played well. They had good defensive game plans. These are 2 good defensive coaches. They had good game plans, but the offensive execution by both teams was poor, with the exception of a few individual plays down the stretch. When you shoot 3 for 25 and 6 for 30, that's 9 for 55. I mean, it's got to be less than 20%, right? I mean, when one team shoots 12% and the other shoots 20%, you're in the 15 to 17% range. That's awful, right? I mean, you guys watching could probably shoot that, okay? But look, it wasn't a super sloppy game. 8 and 9 turnovers. you'll take that. It was just the fact that teams didn't make shots. And some of the shots were rushed and contested because the defense was very good. Look, this is one of those things, and Jake Hall shot 1 of 10 and 0 for 7 that I was curious about once we got into league play here. It's one thing for Jake, and I said this a minute ago about the role players. I don't consider Jake Hall a role player, but he's a freshman, and he's going to be now number 1 or 1A on every opposing coach's scout when they go over to scout, okay? Whoever's got responsible for the scout between the coaches and whatever, okay, they're focusing on Jake Hall because he's a shooter. He's a sniper. He's our leading scorer. Well, they were in Jake Hall's shirt pocket. Remember the line from Hoosiers where Shooter, he wanted to know the flavor of gum that the guy was chewing because he wanted him to be in his hip pocket wherever he went. They were all over Jake Hall tonight, and he got no breathing room. He had no breathing room. He had 1 or 2 that were open, but he's rushing his shot because he knows they're all over him. And when you do that, you're not going to shoot as high a percentage. And it just didn't work out. So that was my concern for Jake Hall moving forward. Yeah, he had a great game against Santa Clara, who's a very good opponent. But in conference play, it's just going to become that much tougher. And look, this was going to be one of their tougher tasks of the season, going on the road to one of the top handful of teams in the conference. So there's no shame in losing this game. You're down a guy and a half. You battled foul trouble. You were going to get Boise's A-plus effort because they were coming off a loss. Both teams a little bit rusty in the first half. Just is what it is. And tonight the better team won out. And over the 40 minutes, like I said to BJ, it's a 40-minute game. You might get the upper hand for 5 minutes. You might have the upper hand for 11 minutes. You'd be amazed how many times a team leading by double digits doesn't end up winning the game. And it's just, you got to stay the course. That's why coaches preach, stay, the process is what matters. You can't get so wrapped up in the result of a play or a 4-minute segment or a matter of time between TV timeouts when you might lose the 4 minutes by 8 points. You can't be that upset over it if your process was good. If you're taking poor shots and you're not getting back on defense and you're not communicating and you're not doing all the things that the coaches want and talk about, well, yeah, then that's a problem. But if you're doing everything right and the shots just aren't falling or the other team's making a play or two that you're not going to expect them to make over the course of the game, then, yeah, that stuff will even out. And that's what you just have to do. That's what good coaches preach. And I'm sure that's what Leon was telling his guys all throughout the first half and even when the Lobos made that nice run to start the second half. So great job by the Broncos here. They answered the bell. This is one they needed to have. You can't fall to 0-2. You got to protect your home court too. All right. We didn't see it much today. As a matter of fact, as we'll get to in a minute, Boise was the only home team, remarkably, in the conference to win today. Now, many of the road teams were favored, but regardless, you got to protect your home court, especially against the good teams, and Boise did that. So great job, getting the W here to get themselves back on the right track, and they should feel good about this one. Let's get to the other late game here, and then we'll kind of hit on the other big game, which was Nevada and CSU. And this would be the Battle of California, San Diego State heading north to San Jose State, where the pregame narrative kind of was how every year, multiple times every year, Miles and his crew will hang around for 20 minutes and have a lead or be tied, and then they'll get run out of the gym by a more talented San Diego State team in the second half. It kind of played that way in this game because the Aztecs led by 4 at the half, but it was not a runaway. If you look at the final score, 81-68, and let me see if I can pull this one up here. Oh, shit, I have a blank screen up there. So let's go to this one. 81-68 was the final, and it was a close game much of the second half. I didn't get to pay much attention to the first half of this one because the two games going on in the hour before it were very competitive, both the Utah State game and the Nevada-Colorado State game. So I didn't get to pay full attention. I had it on the screen, and I could see it going back and forth. But in the second half, this was a 1-point game with 5 or 6 minutes to go. So this, you look at the final here, it says 81-68. You see that they outscored them by 9 in the second half, and you might think, yeah, typical game. They pulled away in the second half. I don't necessarily think that's what happened here at all. And I heard some of that from from Aztec fans actually on social media, a little disappointed in their team's play. And the fact remains, you see the same thing here with the minutes breakdown. 30 minutes for Dixon Waters and 27 for Bird. Everybody else is clumped in that 13 to 21 minute range. It's remarkable to see 8 guys between 13 and 21 minutes. It's unbelievable. And I just, like, at some point, Dutcher needs to figure out what he's doing here with his minutes. BJ Davis only getting 21 minutes is remarkable. I think anybody who has watched this team for more than a few minutes will tell you that he's been far and away their best player all season, the most consistent player. He struggled against Arizona from the floor, but you're not going to knock him for that. Everybody struggles against Arizona from the floor, and especially in that game for San Diego State. He's been by far their best player. For him to only get 20, and it doesn't matter that he doesn't start. Would I prefer him to start? 100%. And I'm sure there's some Aztec fans that would prefer him to start too. It doesn't really matter if you start. You got to get more minutes than that. Like, you got to get more minutes than 21 minutes, especially when you're going up against some of the better teams. Like, they're 2-0 right now, but they played arguably the two worst teams in the conference. A home game against Air Force, it's not going to get any easier than that. And and then a game at San Jose State where they don't have any home court, and it's just they don't have the depth this year. Miles is a good coach. They'll play hard and they'll battle for a while. They just don't have enough. And I was too wrapped up in the stats here, and I missed some comments, but I want to get to some because we want to encourage that interaction here. So, what a nail biter in Boise. Spencer Aarons, MVP for sure. Totally agree with that. Here's another one about Aarons. What a player. There's no doubt about that. More on Aarons here. So he has the vote of the fans. Some big wins for Boise. Spencer Aarons just getting a lot of them. But, yeah, and here's another one that was painful, but glad they found a way. Absolutely. And this is too. My one critique of Rice, and I will get to this, they never make closing out games easily. They missed a bunch of free throws, and they turned the ball over. And I tweeted it out right before at the end. It was reminiscent of that St. Mary's game. Never should have got that close. I mean, my goodness, credit to New Mexico for sticking it out. Let's see, what else do I want to say? So let's I want to get back to the San Diego State game just for a minute here because the fact is, They've underwhelmed, and I think you'd be really having your Aztec black glasses on to not see that and to think that that's not the case because they just I wouldn't be fooled by a double figure win here, and that's kind of the main takeaway from this one. So I would say that they need to get their act together, as BJ mentioned. Big game on Saturday in San Diego. So at Viejas. The Broncos heading down there. I mean, San Diego State's going to be favored to win because it's not easy to go in there and win, but they're going to have to play better basketball or this is going to be a game right down to the wire, and you don't want to leave it up to the wire, when you're expecting to win these home games. Like, they're expecting to win the home game. So, I mean, 100% they need to play better, and that goes for everybody. And I just wonder at what point, like I wanted to get to it and I didn't because my thoughts are all over the place here with the Neto and Andrews point guard issue here at Boise. When is Leon maybe going to kind of pass the mantle over? Not necessarily again. Same thing with BJ Davis. I know guys want to start, right? Guys want to start, but it should matter who finishes and who gets the bulk of the minutes. So if you don't start but you play 29 or 32 minutes, most guys are okay with that, all right? Conversely, if you start and you only play 17 minutes, you shouldn't be happy with that. You shouldn't want that. You want to be on the floor in crunch time when it matters, when the chips are down, when when the money is made, and that's what Neto has earned, and that's what BJ Davis has earned. BJ pushed the Aztecs over the finish line in this game, so absolutely need to see a little bit more from them moving forward. And it doesn't seem to be a lot of the comments on here, and I will get back to them a little bit. A lot of the comments are on that New Mexico Boise game, so not a lot of talk on the other games. But again, we'll need to see a little bit more from San Diego State, but that'll be a difficult game to win for Boise on the road. We already saw what happened when they went to Nevada, and we're actually going to get to Nevada right now. So let me talk about this game for a minute, and then we'll bring Craig Neal in again. Excited to talk to associate head coach Craig Neal after the game. And, here we go. Bird and Gwath have underperformed this season. Yeah, I mean, look, that's the only way around it. You kind of want to give Gwath a little more rope because he was injured. Bird's had some nicks, too, on his body and not been completely healthy. But, I mean, look, the fact is those were your big guns, and that was the reason why you had such optimism going into the season. And for those guys to not be getting it done the way you expected, that's why you are where you are. Bird seems slightly more engaged tonight. Goon's still getting up to game speed, and Dutch needs to shorten rotation. 100% needs to shorten rotation. And, yeah, Bird, from what I saw, a little bit more engaged. He didn't miss a dunk tonight, so that's a plus. Other things here, San Diego State, next two games versus Boise and Nevada. At Nevada, going to say a lot about whether they're contenders or pretenders. Excellent point, Vargs. All right, are they contenders or not? Because they're 2-0. It's not the most impressive 2-0, and most of the top teams will be 2-0 against that schedule, but they're still the Aztecs, right? They still have the talent, and we're waiting for it to shine through. Will it happen or not? This is their week to put up or shut up here, I think, okay? Okay, all right. So let's get to the CSU-Nevada game, and I will say this. Look, teams off for 10 days, and you don't see this every year. It's just kind of the way the calendar fell, right? It's the way the calendar fell, and everybody dealt with it. But some handled it better than others. You saw the teams in the Boise, New Mexico game didn't really handle it very well. But Nevada had no such issues. They came out firing right away on all cylinders, and I will credit Alford and the staff, whether it was Neal, whoever else it was, with some pressure. It gets your guys running around. It gets them engaged. It gets them, involved to where you're not just kind of sitting back because you have to move. You have to be more active. You have to play all your 94 feet, right? And so you're doing that, and it gets you engaged and ready to play. Now, one of the things Miles Simon said during the New Mexico game was that, he thinks that some of this rust is overblown because the guys it's not like they're not practicing for 10 days. They haven't played in 10 days, but they're still practicing. That is true, but it's still difficult to simulate game action, right? When the lights are on, when the whistles are blowing, when the refs are there, when the fans are in the seats. I know these guys have played many games, but it's not as easy as it seems to just kind of strap them up after being off for 10 days and get back out there and make it happen. So, I mean, look, credit to Nevada. They came out right from the start and were ready to go. Now, here's the thing here. Much of this mirrored, in a way, the Boise, New Mexico game in that the depth or lack thereof for one team and the bench of the other team, to me, was really the difference, okay? Look at the numbers here for Nevada, all right? It's remarkable. First, let's talk about CSU. We all know they're missing Jorgensen. He got banged up a week and a half ago in the Utah State game. They finally made an announcement. I think it was yesterday, maybe it was 2 days ago. He's going to miss a few games, so maybe a couple weeks. He's not out for the year, which is a plus. We still don't have Bemba back. And without those two guys, there's just no depth on this team. There's very little height. Joppa, he does what he can do, but he's not a player suited for a physical game like we got tonight at Moby. Very physical game, and he's just not consistent or skilled enough. I mean, is the bottom line. And as a result, Ali has to go very small. I have a feeling he struggled with putting a lineup together that he wanted to use. He's also got some guys out there for some minutes that he may not have thought back in September and October that he was going to use for those minutes. And when you go up against a team then that's playing with confidence, look at what Alford did on the flip side of the coin here. Look at his minutes distribution. He gets 3, 6, 7, 8 guys, double-figure minutes, 9 minutes for Walker, 8 minutes for Coleman, and most guys contributed. Walker and Coleman didn't do a whole lot, but even Crowley, who only played 4 minutes, had a great move. He took one shot and finished a nice, tight reverse layup in traffic. But some of the other guys, they filled a role tonight. They filled a role. Whether it was getting a loose ball, whether it was getting an offensive rebound, they did a very good job. The rebounds will tell you they're even. And, or CSU actually out-rebounded Nevada and grabbed 2 more offensive rebounds. But second chance points were 21-15 in favor of Nevada. And it really seemed that it was more disparate than that because I felt that it was. But the key thing for me was, if you guys have followed me and see some of the things that I say on social media, in the non-con, because I root for all of us in the non-con. And then when it gets to conference play here, I don't really root, right? I root for good games, competitive games, our teams to do well, look good, all that stuff. I don't like to root because I'm rooting against somebody, okay? Now, it gets to late March, that changes because I want some of our teams to get into the postseason. But now, I'm not sitting there rooting for Nevada or rooting for Colorado State, right? I want to see good play, okay? But one of the things that I saw in a non-con was we got out 50-50'd all the time. I mentioned this somewhere before. We got out 50-50'd all the time. You're supposed to get half of the loose balls, 50-50, what they're called 50-50 balls. I thought we were getting 20 to 30% of them in the non-con. To me, Nevada tonight got like 80% of them, and that was massive. Between that and the offensive rebound for second chance points, I thought that was crucial. Also important was their defense, and many other things. But I will say this. Let me get to my conversation here with Craig Neal. I caught up with Coach for a few minutes after the game. I'm going to play this quick ad from one of our sponsors at Circa, and then we're going to come right back with a short clip from assistant coach Craig Neal.
Get ready for the time of your life at Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas's newest destination for fun, featuring the world's biggest poolside tailgate party with 3 levels of action, 6 pools, and a 143-foot screen. The fun is always on deck with all the games all year long. Stadium Swim, located in downtown Las Vegas on Fremont Street. Book the time of your life today at circalasvegas.com.
All right, we're back on another night in the Mountain West, and I'm pleased to be joined by assistant coach of the Nevada Wolfpack, Craig Neal. Coach, congratulations on the victory tonight. Thanks for joining us here on another night in the Mountain West.
Oh, thanks a lot. It was a good win for us, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, for sure. So, look, I've watched a lot of games over the last few days here with teams coming back from these long layoffs and seen a lot of rust, a lot of teams with some slow starts. You guys were at it right from the tip tonight. You got out to a big lead. You guys came with some full court pressure. I think that kind of got you guys really on the move here. Was that something in the game plan? You just want to get your guys going? Did you feel good about the game from the practices leading up here? What were your thoughts?
Well, we've had a coach that's been a head coach for 35 years, so he's kind of been able to figure it out. But we did some unique things during the break. We gave our guys 5 days off, which we've never done. To get them home because they deserved it. They did the work. And then when we got back, we surprised them with 2 days of two-a-days. So I don't know if they were ready for that, but it was a situation where we had to get them engaged. We had to get them re-engaged for what they did against Boise, what they did in the non-con. So that was a way to get their attention early. And then we kind of backed off of them and then really light the last 2 days. But they did an outstanding job getting re-engaged. And to be honest with you, we're really deep. I mean, we're winning 2 of these big games for us without 2 of our starters in the non-con. So credit to all our guys. We're playing a lot of guys and we're getting a lot of contributions. And it was great to see Tyler Rollerson have a big game like he did at the end of the year. And we've been waiting for that. So we've had a lot of guys been able to pick people up, and that was big for us tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So you mentioned Tyler off the bench. I think he led you guys with 21 tonight. I'm not sure if you got a chance to look at the stat sheet or not yet, but it seemed like your offense in the second half, especially, it came from like broken plays or second chance buckets. Didn't seem to be a lot of flow, but you made the buckets when you had to. You got the 50-50 balls. I think as Pack fans or as you guys as coaches, those were the things that weren't necessarily going your way last year, and they seem to be kind of working out to this point for you guys this year. Is that something that you notice with the guys? Is that a focus that you guys have put on as a staff? Speak to that.
Well, I think our biggest thing was I think we've gotten really much better defensively, and defensively leads to offense. But we did do a lot of soul searching this summer, and we did work on making plays on broken plays because us, we've been in this league for a long time, and we've always been really good execution-wise, but we had some lulls last year where we couldn't, after a play broke down, we couldn't make plays. And this summer and this summer and fall, we worked on, 30-second shot clock plays breaking down, you don't get to shoot it, and now we got to make a play. And I think our guys have gotten better one-on-one. I think they've gotten better in drawing fouls. I think they've gotten better in drawing kick. And I think this group is really gelled. And, in this portal era, when you have 10 guys and you have 10 guys united to 14 guys united, it makes a big difference.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And listen, you talked about the defense. I mean, you know as well as I do, you played one of the best shooting teams in the country here. You held them to 19 for 51 from the field. They only had 10 assists. They like to get up into the 20s for assists. Just an incredible defensive job. Was that something that you saw on the film from maybe the game where they played Utah State, or was it just stuff that you guys focused on your strengths? How did it come about defensively for you guys tonight?
Well, it was Jared Lucas's scout, and he's not really known for defense. So he did a great job of knowing what they were doing, and Bill Dewaney does a lot of our defense. He's kind of our defense coordinator. So they did a really good job. We were able to prepare. We knew what Colorado State has always been. They've always been a very good offensive team. We just thought that if we could pressure them and take time off the clock, you don't have to guard a lot of false motion. And that really helped us because we're able to play 11, 12 guys. In the years past, when we're playing 7, you really can't do that without wearing your guys out. So I think that helped us, making them play late in the clock and not being able to run a lot of their false motion.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, you mentioned Jared Lucas. Tonight was the first victory for you guys against CSU since that Lucas bomb about 2 years ago from half court that everybody remembers. So,
Lucas. And to ode to him, we brought back the black jerseys.
That's what did it then. Okay. Well, Coach, you 2 fantastic wins against 2 contenders in Boise State and on the road against CSU. You got to be loving it. You got another big one Saturday at Fresno. Never easy to go on the road back-to-back in the league. Fresno gave Utah State a good game tonight. So get some rest. Enjoy the new year. Thanks for coming on here, and we'll catch you again soon.
All right, anytime. Appreciate you. Thanks a lot.
Care. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. So there was the conversation. Pleased to have Coach Craig Neal offer his thoughts, and a couple things that I didn't even mention because I wanted to let Coach speak to it first was his talk about Tyler Rollison. And for those who heard me elsewhere, I don't even remember anymore, might have been on one of the show I did with Steve, talk about Christmas gifts for programs. And for Nevada, I said, what would I give them? I would give them the Tyler Rollison of 2 years ago, of last preseason, of the player that we expected him to be, because I didn't think Nevada could reach their ceiling if we didn't get that TR that we thought we could get. Kind of like I've said with the San Diego State guys, right? And that's one of the other things that we don't think about so much here is the fact that these guys got to work on their game to improve. I'm not saying they're not, but other guys are. And if you're not, or you're not to the extent that other guys are, it's not going to work out. We saw glimpses tonight of the TR that we thought we would see for the last 2 years. And if that's what you're going to get, look out, because Nevada now has 2 of the better wins overall in the conference, and they have 2 of them, all right? A great road win tonight and a home win against a team that you just saw in Boise knock somebody else out, okay, as we see here. Reno killing it. Yeah, certainly. I mean, I'd be excited if I was a Nevada fan right now. They got options, and I know I addressed this last week, but yes, they're still missing the 2 guys in Camper and Armor Trading, and Comer didn't even really light it up tonight. It's just like an ensemble cast was this one tonight for the Pack, and you got to love that, right? Really love this. Really like this Nevada team. They're going to be tough to beat wherever they play all year. I agree. I mean, and what I texted out or tweeted out was what I believe. They're doing things that they didn't do last year. Okay. Now, granted, neither one of the games that they won here, either tonight or last Saturday against Boise, ended up as close games. But those were games that didn't go their way last year, and they found a way to get them done. So, I mean, Reno will be a difficult out, especially at home, 100%. Yeah, and you know what? So Steve Alford got a shout out in the final season of Stranger Things. Yes, he did. I was actually going to ask him about that, but we didn't get our coach. We got Neil, which was great instead. But yeah, maybe next time if we get Coach Alford, I'll ask him about Stranger Things. But look, Nevada, I'd feel excellent right now if I was a Pac fan. 2-0. Again, not going to be easy to go to Fresno and win, especially, Fresno looked good tonight. I'll talk about that game for a minute in a second. But, I mean, look, you have to like the way you're feeling if you're a Nevada fan. So let me quickly go to those last two because I want to get out of here. BJ's got to get on here and get his Boise post game rolling. So let me get a couple minutes of these last two games in. The Utah State game was concurrent with the Nevada game, and so I focused on it, but it was kind of secondary to the Nevada game. And look, the game was odd. It was played between like an 8 and 12 point window the entire game, right? The entire game. Like it never really moved off of there. And that was just kind of a result of Utah State kind of doing what they wanted to do, I guess, is kind of the way it played out where, they I don't want to say they toyed with Fresno because Fresno played well. They played hard. They have more talent than they had last year in Wahlberg's first season. Collins is playing at a pretty high level. Highbrader made some shots tonight. They got some other athletes out there. For the Aggies, I mean, look, they got consistent minutes from a lot of their guys. Collins had 18. Falslev had 16. King 13 off the bench. They did what they needed to do. Their defense was actually pretty good. You hold a team to 63 at home, you'll take that. They out-rebounded the Bulldogs 41-34. They did turn it over 20 times. I think Calhoun will not be happy about that. 5 turnovers from Drake Allen. He certainly will not be happy about that. Falslev 16-8, so nice job by Falslev. But again, look, this is a game you have to win if you're considered a favorite. And I should have mentioned this too. It's funny. I saw the odds to win the league before today, and Utah State was basically about even money. San Diego State was still the second choice. The odds makers still believe in the Aztecs. They were the second choice at 3-1, and then Boise was third choice at 8-1. New Mexico, I think, was next. I didn't write them down, but they were next at 10-1. Followed by CSU and Grand Canyon, and then Nevada. So that will certainly change now if they update them when I see them. This was just over the break here when they kept putting new ones out. But look, things are going to change. But as I was saying, you're the favorite to win. You got to win these games, and they did. So Calhoun will have things to work on in practice, which is what you want as a coach. You can get a road win, and you can harp on your guys about some things because that's what you really want to do. And then lastly, the afternoon, the matinee game, I guess, if you will, was Wyoming and Air Force. And look, Wyoming wins by 12, kind of to me similar to the San Diego State, San Jose State game. It's a double-figure win. It wasn't a smooth double-figure win. It was a tie ball game with less than 10 minutes to go. I didn't think Wyoming played smooth. They took a few too many threes. They just have more talent than Air Force, as we know. And as I mentioned with the Boise game, over a 40-minute game, that's going to be difficult to overcome if you're a team like Air Force, okay? Even though you're at home and Wyoming might not play well in Clune Arena. I heard that a lot. And I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that's all true. But the fact is, Air Force is not going to get many wins in conference play this year. And so you have to take care of business here if you're Wyoming. They did. But much like Utah State, it will give them some things to work on. Sundance will get the film in there. I can't remember exactly who Wyoming has on Saturday. Off the top of my head, I only remembered 1 or 2 of the games. But, look, they're going to have to be sharper because, when you're in a tie game with Air Force with less than 10 to go, they took too many threes. They were sloppy against the zone. Maybe they'll see some more zone. The coaches in the league, we have a few coaches who will play zone. They may get a little bit more zone because they just don't shoot the three very well. I don't know. I do want to get to a Wyoming plays at the pit next. Oh, man. So that's going to be a tough one for Wyoming there because they're going to get an angry New Mexico team coming off a loss. You always expect teams to bounce back after a loss. Let's see. BJ will get a laugh out of this one. BJ's arguing with Jeff Grammer, take your time, coach. That's not true. They had lunch today. They did a pregame show together. It was all good. There was something else I want to get to back on the CSU one if I could find it. I will say there are many, many comments in here. Ram fan here, frustrating but time to readjust expectations for the squad. Still will be a team that will play in high-octane games. you might be right in the fact that it might be time to adjust the expectations, because 2 weeks ago, we were thinking, man, that Denver loss is going to keep us out of the tournament, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, man, we're sitting at 0-2. You just dropped a home loss in a game that, you probably expected to win. Doesn't matter how good Nevada's playing right now. You expect to win your home games, and it didn't work out that way. So, yeah, look, let's get healthy first, get the two big guys back. You can play with anybody if your shots are falling. They just haven't fallen over the last two games, and you lost to two good teams. I mean, the fact of the matter is you lost to the two best teams in the league, because I think there's no doubt. I was hesitant a week ago, and I'll get out of here in a minute, because BJ's going to come on with his Bronco Nation News post-game show, so I will get out of here in a second. But, look, I was hesitant to make rankings after the last show because I needed more a new game set to watch. Well, I got that game set, and it's pretty apparent to me that Utah State slots in as 1 and Nevada slots in as number 2. I don't think anybody could argue that whatsoever. Now, I'd have to think a little bit about 3 through 8 right now. 9 through 12 still are in the same spots, and they might be for a while. So I got to think about 3 through 8. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see Grand Canyon today, but teams 3 through 8 at this point, they're all kind of in the mix there, depending on where you're playing and who you're playing. But look, Nevada certainly ascended, and as people have pointed out, Alford doesn't have 2 bad years in a row. When not much is expected of Alford, he gets the job done, and you're starting to see that now. So a lot of good stuff to like there, again, if you're a Nevada fan. And the other teams, look, you'll take road wins. Wyoming, Utah State, and San Diego State, I could poke holes in all of their efforts today, but the bottom line is they all got road wins. I'd be nitpicking if I did that, and, I mean, I guess I can do that because it's my show, and, I can kind of be critical if I want sometimes. But, I mean, look, the fact is they got road wins, and you'll take those because they're difficult to come by in conference play. So I think I will wrap it up there. Glad I got the Neil interview in. Do me a favor, as I mentioned last week, please go and subscribe to this YouTube channel here on the Bronco Nation News Network. The link is in my bio. It's also in some of these tweets. Just subscribe. It's real simple. Doesn't cost you anything. Just click the subscribe button there. I know you can watch it various ways through Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff. Try and subscribe and watch it here through the YouTube channel. That helps us out. It pleases our sponsors. I didn't open it up and crack one, but you see it right down there. I'm trying to match it up in the corner to Sun Cruiser Vodka. It is 2 a.m. here, so I don't exactly want to start hitting the bottle at this hour after, 5 hours of watching games there. So some interesting stuff here. And as BJ and I would say, just another night in the Mountain West. So appreciate all of you joining in. Sorry I couldn't get to all the comments. It'll be a little jumbled like this on nights when Boise is the last game because BJ has to get to his show. He can do some interviews and then get going there. But on other nights, it won't be that way. So we'll see how the schedule plays out moving forward. But we will be here on Saturday. Full schedule again. Nothing until then. So enjoy your new year. Do something fun. Do something safe. Spend it with your friends and family. And then enjoy the hoops on Saturday. And make sure you come on back at the end of the night Saturday to see what we have to say on another night in the Mountain West. Thank you all for joining me. And good night.